Production. Recap feels good. I like what we're doing with the recap. It feels like we're capturing little slices of everyday life here with the tour and presenting it to the people at large. Hi, people. So we filmed Tourgasm here. That was a show that I did on HBO many years ago. It was almost a happy accident that I was filming what was essentially going to be a comedy tour that would change my life. It would become the tour that set me up for the next era of major, massive shows. So when I think about Seattle, I think about like, all right, this is the first place the bus pulled into. I hope Seattle is great because then maybe it'll domino into other shows. Little did I know that by the time I ended that tour, my career would be like at a whole nother place, man. It was like going from eating, at a food cart to like, man, now I can actually go to the Wendy's drive-thru.
Let's go a little further back. People discovered you on Comedy Central Presents. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Wow, Comedy Central Presents was probably like what every comic was hoping to book. I really wanted it because I knew like it would lead to some gigs. They didn't want to give it to me at first. In fact, I don't know why they gave it to me. I know it wasn't because they thought I was up and coming or a popular college act. I don't think Comedy Central was even really thinking at that point, like we can be a part of like breaking a persona and really elevating them. I think they were just a machine for like more comedy, more excerpts. So they didn't make you feel, if I'm gonna be honest, it wasn't like welcome party. It wasn't like you're on the Comedy Central main stage. It really was like a battle to get that. The show that people see, episode that was televised, I never thought it would see the light of day. I was so frustrated that day with the filming that I honestly thought that I was sort of sabotaging it to a place where it was unusable because I thought it would hurt me. Originally, I was supposed to go second, which was at like say 8:30 at night at a theater that they booked out for 4 acts. So it was gonna be an act at whatever, 8 o'clock, and then they'd reset and have the next one ready at 9. They switched me during the day and said, we moved you from second, now you're last. That could end up being around 10:30 or 11 o'clock at night. And I'm like, are you gonna rotate the crowd? That's like, they're gonna be burnt out. They didn't answer that question either. Everything was really kind of like, oh, we're gonna figure, some people will come in, we'll move some people around. And I was stressed too, because I'd never done anything of this caliber with this, like these cameras and the stage and the setup. And they asked me what I wanted behind me. I was like, I don't know, like they had like a drum kit. And I was like, can you take some tape and put my name on the drum? I remember thinking people aren't gonna know me, but if they see me and kind of like me, if my name's on the drum, they'll go, oh wait, it says it right there, Dane Cook, okay. I was more excited about the drum being a splash of advertisement. I had no clue that this special would be like a bombastic, history-making, Comedy Central identity creating new road for them and for me. But what happened that day was fucked up, man. What they put me through that day was like, to a young comic and to a somebody who's out there watching right now, like they're gonna mess with you. At some point, the powers that be are gonna mess with you because they don't know you, they don't know your passion, they really don't know your creativity. And then there's people, when you go in to do a show like that are there to, well, they're gonna say they're producers, but they're really curators of content at that time. And they're gonna tell you what they think best works for their network. They're not gonna go, this is what we think best positions you for success as you. They're gonna go, this is what we think the parts that you do that make us look good. And I didn't know that at the time, but I was gonna learn within a 6 to 10 hour period that day. Let's rewind and let me take you back to like noon. I'm in my dressing room and a person walks in with basically costumes and they're holding up different shirts. At the time, right around like 98, 99 era, there were 2 things that were somewhat prevalent, which is like ska music and bowling shirts. Somebody walks in and holding up a couple shirts and they were like, which one of these are you gonna wear for the show? I'm like, I have some t-shirts with like, they're like, no, there's decals. We can't have any decals. One of them is just a thing. It looks like a sandwich. It was just a sandwich. I don't think, they were like, no. It's gray. My manager at the time sitting there, I'm scared because I'm really not as vocal as I am or would be today. I'm trying to I'm like, okay, well, I don't know if I would. And they were like, well, choose one of these. This looks good with the lighting that we put together. So they lit my stage in colors I didn't know what they would be. They had the drum with the name on it. That's good. But they leave me with these 2 shirts and I find a phone. I call my mom back in Boston and I go, Mom, they got me wanting to wear these bowling shirts. My nickname for my mom was the Compass because my mom always knew the direction that I should go in before I even knew. the direction. I don't want to wear polo shirts. What do I do? And she was like, wear whatever you want. And I explained, I was like, well, but to a point where I guess like they can't get permission to put certain shirts on me. Oh, she goes, oh, wear one of those, one of your black tank tops. I go, you mean like that I wear to the gym? And she goes, yeah. She goes, wear one of those. I think I won one at like the Comedy Connection one night because it was the air conditioning was broken. She goes, remember you wore it? She goes, and I could see all your movements. She's like, and when you move, she goes, because you have such lanky arms. I said, but I think they're gonna get upset at me. And she was like, but honey, you're gonna be upset if you wear what they're telling you that doesn't speak to you. I hang up the phone, I go back in. I have a black tank top in my gym bag. I throw it on with a pair of black jeans. They come in a couple hours before the show. They're like, what's that? I'm like, I'm gonna wear this. I remember whoever it was, they were like, you're not wearing that. And immediately like ran to get higher up. Then my manager's like, you should get out of here, let me deal with it. And then I hear them like bickering back and forth, like, he can't wear a black tank top. And my manager's like, he can wear whatever he wants. I'm feeling just insecure. I need to be funny in a couple hours. We win the fight. I think what I heard somebody say was, this is never gonna air. Okay, now I'm hearing them threaten my manager and everything. And I'm like, oh wow, like I'm freaking out, but it gets even wilder, gets even worse. Now I'm a little bit before showtime. They're treating me like I'm ostracized. You know, nobody is like, do you need anything? Everybody else getting tea delivered. Everybody else, like all the other comics are being made to feel like this is, you know, this is your moment to shine. When I came into my dressing room later that day, like 2 of my bulbs were blown. And I'm like, did they just like come in in a dark dressing room, no vanity light? Look at that special. I think I'm one of the only people you've ever seen on a Comedy Central special. They didn't touch me up in any way. They delayed the show until almost 11 o'clock. I'm not even up yet. They were like, you stick to the monitor. The jokes were like bullet points on the monitor. 22 minutes, don't go over, because if we go over, it's a union house and we're gonna get hit with penalties. Like, what if a laugh goes too long? I'm panicked, man. I'm panicked. As I was about to go on stage, I looked out, the producer was bringing a new group of people in. They were like actors. They were like beautiful girls with their boobs out. Boob girl there, and then some guy with slicked hair. And all they're doing when they sit down is they're looking where okay, there's a camera there for me. Then I have another producer that I've met come over and say to me, like real aggressive, when you go out there, don't look at the camera. And when the camera's, if we come on stage, don't interfere with the camera. Now they're telling me things that weren't in the rehearsal. I just want to like say something. This is what I learned years and years later. Actually, I learned it in real time and I didn't know I implemented it into my stand-up, and I hope comics especially, or anybody in the arts really that's creating, here's what I'm about to say. All these fuck-ups, blessings. As long as I'm prepared, if the world is shaking a little, if there's some turbulence, that's where I'm at my best. And this night would teach me that. I didn't know this at 11, but by the time I was in my hotel that night, I would come to realize how I felt was very pivotal. They finally bring me out on stage, and I'm walking towards the only thing that I think matters, which is how that audience perceives me. It matters more than even at this point. I don't even know how I perceive me. There's certain areas of my life where I feel like I'm a phony, I'm weak. Every step you see me walk out on that stage, you watch, like I come to life. The character of Dane Cook on stage, which is actually more me than I realize. I'm actually walking towards who I really am. I'm about a minute in and I start realizing I'm not really like in the pocket. I'm kind of like looking around. I'm looking, where's that camera that they said might be on stage or hit me in the head, or and these people in the front row, the cool dude, like looking around, he's looking at me, but he's like this. He's looking at the camera and you're me, and he's like this. And the girl with the boobs is like doing like, nobody's laughing like this on purpose. And the teleprompter's in front of me and I see my first couple of bits like scroll up. I have, I guess, like a mini anxiety attack, but because I'm confident on stage, my confidence is fighting the anxiety, but the anxiety's in there. But I realize I'm gonna go down with the ship if I don't change something. I feel really false. So I go, I'm gonna just stop everything right now. Hey, you can turn that monitor off. You can just turn that off because I'm not doing that. I'm not gonna do that. I see like producers with their headsets on. I can see people. I can see the actor guy in the front of even everybody's reacting because now they don't know if it's part of the act. So they turn off the teleprompter. I start calling people out in the front row. Like this. All right, guys, eyes up here. During the show, who cares about you? Like, I'm kind of like, I'm bitching at them. in a funny way, but I'm still kind of like, I'm calling them out. And then I take my bottle of water and I pour it on myself. And I end up doing a bit about the movie Aliens, which is my favorite movie. I love Aliens, right? I'm acting out, but I'm turning it into performance. I'm hurt, I'm scared, I don't want to bomb, I don't want to die up here. So I'm gonna go to what I know. But the water was also to say, now you don't have continuity. Now I've screwed up your shot because I'm wet, but it gets a big laugh. They love it. And I start going into the alien thing, and I'm looking around, this crowd is, whether they know it or not, they're like, something's happening in the room that doesn't feel as manufactured as the entire night has been. I'm rolling around, I'm laying down, throwing my body around, and now there's a camera guy and he's really close to the front of the stage. Somehow I ended up right in front of him, and I'm like, look, I'm talking to America. I'm doing exactly the opposite, where they said, don't look at the cameras, don't touch, don't interfere. I'm grabbing the camera. I'm doing all these things that are like pretty much sabotaging the moment, but it feels so performative. It feels so alive. It feels like everything that you want stand-up to be, which is dangerous and naughty, irreverent, and wild. So now, I'm about 30 minutes in. I've gone past the 22 minutes. Now I know it's probably going past midnight, which means they're about to hit penalty phase, which I think is around $30,000 to $50,000 for a union house. I would eventually do 60 minutes. How many times I went back to my crappy little hotel that night and said, holy shit, did I just end my career? Was there any of that felt as thrilling as I felt when I wasn't actually destroying all these things around me that I felt were insulating me, but not in a good way?
What was your conversation with the producers after you got off stage?
I'll tell you one quick thing that I don't think I've ever told anybody before. I originally ended my show by double birds, flipping the whole crowd. The end of my show was me giving double birds and flipping the crowd off. And then I'm like, can I have Dane Cook? I came off stage. Whoever the liaison producer, not the person in the bottom, not the main producer, but whoever was there to kind of keep things running, said, stop, wait, you gotta go back out and do the ending again. And I go, I'm not going back out there. They go, you have to do the ending again. And they tell me I have to do it without like flipping the crowd off. I went back out there and I did it again. And not only did I flip the crowd off, then I jumped into the crowd. I climbed over tables, and if you watch the end credits on my Comedy Central Presents, I'm humping a woman's head, you know? I jumped up and was like literally grabbing it, and I think the show ends with me like, oh, and it ends. I go to my hotel, of course, probably call my mom a dozen times. Next morning, go back to Boston. Within a couple of weeks, I take a meeting with Comedy Central. I'm not gonna tell you everything that was said in there because I'm telling you a lot and I'm probably oversharing some things. Everybody had growth that night, and I'm sure that even some of the people on the creative side learned something because it was a very successful show. A couple of weeks later, they come in, they go, listen, we're gonna eat the cost of the overtime. We're not gonna like charge you for that. It was not cool, it was not professional. They were like, we got a show here. There's something here that we think we can cut together. Everything that I did that was anti-Comedy Central, they used. Things that weren't even planned ended up making it. Stuff that they were like, no, we can't air that. They cut it down to 22 minutes. And maybe the greatest decision of my life, and the last thing I'll share with you for this particular chapter of that story, I fought to legally retain the rights to the whole hour. When I did my Comedy Central record deal, which came to me because when Comedy Central Presents Dane Cook aired, not only did it air to the highest ratings in Comedy Central history, they aired that twice a day, every day, for 4 years. This is pre-internet. This is just everybody who watched Comedy Central. I booked every college, I filled every arena, everything was gonna be like from 0 to 6,000 after that would air for many, many months. But I fought them and said, I want the additional footage for my record. And they were like, what is that? I go, you ever see like a late night thing? And they go, in order now and you'll get an additional CD for, I go, I want an additional CD and I want an explicit content sticker. Because when you tell somebody you can't hear this, they want to hear. So they gave me the sticker, they gave me the DVD. The DVD, however we would aggregate those numbers today, would be the equivalent of, hundreds of millions of hours of viewership, according to the numbers that they share. I'm just in it, and I'm like really thinking about it. Like, to be honest, I was just so concerned. I was so concerned when I went back because I was like, did I just blow my main opportunity? I'm proud of myself, proud of young artists when I see them in the never been done before business.